Today we're going to talk about how you can obtain citizenship in Paraguay. We're going to talk about the prerequisites for obtaining Paraguayan citizenship, the documents you must submit to be considered, and we're also going to talk about why Paraguayan citizenship. Let's dive right into it and start talking about the prerequisites for Paraguayan citizenship. We've been asked this question a lot on our channel. So many people are looking to immigrate to Paraguay in the hope to become citizens one day. The good news is that Paraguay does offer a path to citizenship. Paraguay is a very liberal country where you can obtain residency easily. So if you want to obtain Paraguayan citizenship further down the road, here are the prerequisites that you must comply with in order to apply for Paraguayan citizenship. So first of all, you must be from an eligible country to qualify for a residency. And if you're not from an eligible country, then you may still qualify for residency in Paraguay, but you have to obtain an entry permit first. Getting residency is really the first step towards Paraguayan citizenship. Unless you have obtained residency, you won't have a chance to get Paraguayan citizenship. So getting residency is always the first step. And you can start out with temporary residency. This is the most popular path. There are a couple of residency options that you may qualify for in Paraguay. Most of our clients go for temporary residency first, then permanent residency, and I'm going to explain to you everything about it. Temporary residency is obtainable without needing to prove economic solvency. Economic solvency is oftentimes a fact that holds people back from applying for residency overseas. And with Paraguay, you can obtain temporary residency without proving economic solvency. So the Paraguayan government, they don't ask you for income proof, they don't ask for your net worth, they don't ask for bank statements, they don't ask for pension, they don't ask for passive income. They don't ask you for anything for you to get temporary residency in Paraguay. And Paraguay is really one of the few countries in the entire world that does that. In most places, to get temporary residency, you actually have to prove that you have some kind of means to support yourself. In Paraguay, this is not the case. And the best part of this whole deal is that once you have temporary residency, you can convert to permanent residency without proving economic solvency. And I really want to highlight here the fact that you don't have to prove economic solvency even at the time of converting temporary residency to permanent residency. This is really a key differentiating factor, and I'd say a key value proposition that comes with Paraguayan residency. So this is one option, okay? Temporary residency in Paraguay is valid for 2 years, and to get it, you have to have a clean criminal record certificate, so that's the most important thing, and you also must show your birth certificate. And I want to make a couple points here. Let's start out with the criminal record certificate. It is important that it is clean, okay? You can't have anything on it. No misdemeanors, no felony convictions, nothing. Paraguay is pretty strict about that, and we always want to make this clear, especially before we sign up a client, before a client begins working with Nomad Elite, because we don't want to mislead people. It's very important that you realize it, okay, that if you have a criminal record on your criminal record certificate, Paraguay is not going to accept you. I haven't seen a single case, okay? So this is something you want to consider. Now, if you have a misdemeanor on your criminal record certificate, you want to ask your government, especially if it's been a long time since the entry has been made, you want to ask your government if you can get it removed, because a criminal record is not a good thing if you want to apply for residency overseas. Many countries are pretty strict about it, and Paraguay is one of the strictest countries. When it comes to the criminal record history, they're one of the strictest countries, but in terms of offering residency, it's pretty easy, okay? Other countries, for instance, Argentina, they only look back a certain number of years, and certain convictions or certain misdemeanors may not be important to the government of Argentina, where on the other hand, the government of Paraguay considers everything, and they don't want a single record listed on your criminal record certificate. Secondly, you need a birth certificate. Okay, it must be apostille. It's just how it is. And then depending on your marital status, you may also need some proof. Okay, you also need your passport, and then once you're in Paraguay, you need a bunch of more documents, which is something that we help you with when you sign up for our services. But Just now looking at what you need before you can come to Paraguay and get this, there are really a bunch of documents that you need. And once you have submitted your application for temporary residency, it typically takes about 90 days, okay, give or take 90 days, for the Paraguayan government to approve your temporary residency application. And once it's been approved, you can pick it up, or if you work with a trusted service provider like Nomad Elite, we pick it up for you because we have power of attorney, so we can do that. And then we can move on to the next step and start working on other things like your driver's license. For your Cédula, your national identification card, you can apply for it up in the first submission with the government, or once your temporary residency has been approved. There may be multiple options for you to apply for your national identification card in Paraguay. So temporary residence is always first. Now, to finish up this process, to go from not having residency in Paraguay to obtaining permanent residency in Paraguay, you need to know a couple more things. So to keep residency in Paraguay, and we're not talking about tax residency now, these are two different pair of shoes. We're just talking about maintaining temporary residency in Paraguay. You must stay in the country for at least 1 day a year. And this is for you to not lose your temporary residency, okay? If you're out of the country for more than a year while you're on temporary residency, it's gone. Your temporary residency will be gone. It's canceled. It will be canceled, okay? So don't make this mistake. Paraguay residency comes with very lenient minimum stay requirements. It's one of the most lenient countries in the entire world. That's a fact. So at the end of your temporary residency in Paraguay, there's this sweet 90-day window, okay, where you have time to make a decision, where you can decide, what do I want to get out of Paraguay? Do I want to give up temporary residence in Paraguay, which we don't recommend, but do I want to take the next step, which would be to file change of status, to change from temporary residency to permanent residency, and it must happen within 90 days of expiration date of your temporary residency. If you waited, say, 2.5 years, you can no longer qualify for permanent residency, and you would have to apply for temporary residency again. So don't make this mistake. Don't let your temporary residency expire. If you want to stay in Paraguay and if you want to convert to permanent residency, it must happen within 90 days of the expiration date of your temporary residency. Okay, this is super important, and nobody's talking about this, but Nomad Elite is the go-to relocation agency in Paraguay. We're number one, and by far the best relocation agency in Paraguay in terms of education, in terms of the amount of work that we put in to help not only our clients but also our subscribers. Nomad Elite is an education channel, and we specialize in residencies overseas, including Paraguay, and so we want to make your life easier. And it's very fulfilling to hear from so many of you, and especially our clients, that we have achieved exactly that. All right, let's say you decided to convert to permanent residency in Paraguay. Fantastic. You've done a really good job. Now, once this happened, you can apply for permanent residency, okay? Within 90 days of expiration date of your temporary residency card, you convert to permanent residency. And then clock's ticking again for Paraguay to approve your next application change, whatever you want to call it. And once you have obtained permanent residency in Paraguay, that is for life. And that's important because a lot of countries on this planet that don't offer real unconditional permanent residency. And that's why I have personally, as the CEO of Nomad Elite, that's why I have chosen Paraguay, and that's why I've put so much effort into marketing Paraguay, and that's why Paraguay has become so popular too, because we're spending all this time, money, and effort advertising Paraguay to help you guys make the right decision, because a lot of countries do not offer unconditional permanent residency, but Paraguay does. And this is why Paraguay is one of the best countries to immigrate to, okay? And I want to highlight this. And in Paraguay, once you get permanent residency, it is valid for, the card is valid for 10 years, and then you can renew it, okay? So technically, it's capped at 10 years, as it is in many countries. In the United States, a green card is valid for 10 years, but guess what happens when your green card expires? You renew it, and then you can renew it every 10 years if you don't go for citizenship. And we're gonna get to citizenship very, very soon. So there's this path that we now talked about, getting temporary residency first, and then later on converting to permanent residency, okay? And then what you can do is you can apply for citizenship if you have lived in Paraguay for 3 consecutive years for the majority of your time. So that's 183 days or more. That's when you can apply for citizenship. But you can only do it if you have been in the country for 3 consecutive years for the majority of your time while on permanent residency. So temporary residency does not count. Okay, it's not part of the deal. It's just the path that we explained. However, if you want to get citizenship, you must have lived in Paraguay on a permanent residency for 3 years. If you've been part of illegal activities in Paraguay, and if you have been convicted of a crime in Paraguay, then you cannot apply for citizenship. Paraguay may not want you. So to get Paraguayan citizenship, you must have a clean criminal record in Paraguay. This is the beginning, the middle, and the end, my friend. Because if you screwed up, then there's no path for you to become a citizen of Paraguay. Then the next thing that you need is good knowledge of the Spanish language. And that's why on this channel I've been stressing to a deep degree the importance of learning the local language, no matter where you're located in this beautiful world. Countries, for them to consider you as a citizen, they want you to become, fluent in the language, okay? And this is one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is that they want you to know about the history, okay? So you are required to know about Paraguay's history. Even if you want to become a citizen of Italy or the United States of America, you are required to know about the history of these countries. They want that, and they have all rights in the world to require that from you. No country in the world should allow anyone to become a citizen without speaking the language and without knowing about the country's history. Because if you're a citizen of a country, we should look up in the dictionary what it actually means to be a citizen. Being a citizen means to be in alignment with a country. It means to be in sync with a country. You don't have to speak perfect Spanish, okay? And you don't have to know every little detail about Paraguay's history. I'm not saying that, but you have to have some general knowledge, some general understanding of the Spanish language and of the history of Paraguay. So if you meet all the requirements that I just mentioned here, including the minimum stay requirements of 183 days or more per year for 3 consecutive years, you may apply for Paraguayan citizenship. Don't make the mistake of applying for Paraguayan citizenship until you meet all the requirements that I just mentioned in this video. You don't want to waste any time, you don't want to waste any money, and you don't want to waste progress either. That's why we're here to educate you about the process to get Paraguayan citizenship. All right, let's say you don't want to start with temporary residency because you want to invest in Paraguay. Great, you can do that. You can obtain permanent residency in Paraguay right from the start. However, you need to invest $70,000 into a Paraguayan company. You may even be able to invest in real estate, okay? There are some really cool options available, and you don't have to wait for 2 years before you can convert temporary residency to permanent residency. This is also a legitimate path. It is the second most common option that people choose. I mean, the ones who are not married to a Paraguayan, the ones who are not, enrolled into a Paraguayan school. Of course, there are these other options too, but to do that, you have to form some kind of commitment with the country of Paraguay. What we're talking about is the 2 options that are most popular, that are most frequently chosen by our clients, by Nomad Elite clients. So temporary residency with a path to permanent residency, and then you convert to Paraguayan citizenship. Or starting with permanent residency right from the start and spending 3 consecutive years in Paraguay and applying for Paraguayan citizenship. All right, let's talk about the documents that you must have to qualify for Paraguayan citizenship. Obviously, you must be of legal age, okay? You must be an adult to get Paraguayan citizenship. That's how it is in Paraguay right now. A curriculum vitae is required as well. So you put down your educational history, what schools you went to, where you graduated. You're going to put down your work experience wherever you worked. You're going to put down the most significant moments of your professional career, just for the Paraguayan government to see what you're all about. You are going to need profile photos, and the requirements of these photos might be different a couple of years down the road. So I'm not going to mention the requirements now, but you need photos to get Paraguayan citizenship. It's the same as when you apply for residency, you must submit your application alongside with your photos. No dark glasses and also no clothing that covers the head. Unless you're part of a Mercosur country, you're gonna have to submit your passport again. You're gonna need a legalized birth certificate, a certificate of good conduct, so that's again your criminal record certificate from your home country, your permanent admission card, your live and resident certificate, your police clearance certificate, the police record certificate for foreigners, your criminal record history in Paraguay, your national identity card, your work certificate. If you're an entrepreneur, you can issue one yourself using your existing company. If you're employed, you would go to your employer to ask for a work certificate. The application must happen under a lawyer. Okay, this is important, so it can't just be anyone applying for Paraguayan citizenship. You must hire a lawyer. There is a judicial fee to pay, and you must sign a sworn statement issued by the Supreme Court of Justice. There may be additional documents that you must submit along with your citizenship application. And these requirements are subject to change. They can change anytime without prior notice. There are a couple more observations that I want to pass on to you. Basically, all documents that are not in Spanish must be translated from whatever language they're in to Spanish. Then they must be legalized with an apostille, and that must come from the foreign ministry. Basically, you have to show up in person because they also require you to sign a sworn statement. So you go there with your legal representative, so that's your lawyer, and you have to sign these documents right on the spot. Now that we talked about the prerequisites you must comply with before you can apply for Paraguayan citizenship, plus the required documents, let's talk about why Paraguay. Why should you consider Paraguay as your new home? Paraguay is a very immigrant-friendly country located in the heart of South America. It borders Argentina, Bolivia, and Brazil. There are two main languages spoken in Paraguay, Spanish and Guarani. The further you get away from the city, Asunción, the more Guarani there will be spoken. But to live in Paraguay, you can probably get by with just Spanish. Learning Guarani may be quite difficult, and if you're not fluent in Spanish yet, I recommend you start out with learning Spanish first. It will simplify your life. And the Guarani that's spoken, a lot of people say it's kind of like a mix, and Spanish is often part of it, or they're speaking partial Spanish. What about taxes? Well, Paraguay offers a territorial tax system where most foreign sourced income is not taxed in Paraguay. And Paraguay is not a very controlling country. It is a very open-minded country, and it is not a country where the government butters you with everything. The government of Paraguay leaves its citizens and residents alone. This is great. So a lot of people who we're working with, they are moving to Paraguay for lower taxes and peace of mind. They want to live in a quiet environment. That's important to them. Apart from the very safe geographic location, we're talking about in the event of a large-scale war, plus living in a country where you pay literally no taxes on foreign-sourced income, Paraguay offers some of the friendliest people in the entire world. The Paraguayans are very hospitable. They're very welcoming to foreigners. And when you go to Paraguay and when you visit for the first time, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. What's also interesting is the ever-growing international cuisine in Paraguay, specifically in Asunción. So when you go to Asunción, you have access to cuisines from all over the world. It's very internationalized already, and it's actually quite good. You have a lot of good local cuisine, you have local soups, you have empanadas, but you also have a lot of internationalized food there. And some of it has been mixed with Paraguayan food, so it's very interesting. There's a lot of variety of food, and what's also great about Paraguay is that, it's actually pretty inexpensive to live there. If you compare the cost to rent a place in North America to Paraguay, you will immediately see that you probably will get anywhere from 30 to 40 cents on the dollar. Plus, Paraguay is a very family-friendly place. It's very family-oriented, so if you're looking to leave the Western Hemisphere because you're worried about your children's future, you're worried about growing tyranny, then Paraguay has a lot of positive aspects to offer, especially to your children. And of course, what's also great about Paraguay is its dating scene. Many Western men have found love in Paraguay. Now, if you're interested in obtaining a residence permit in Paraguay, we recommend you to choose Nomad Elite, the #1 relocation agency for Paraguay. We help you get residency. We help you with the whole process from start to finish. We handle everything for you and we make your life easier. We have many simplified processes that you can use, whether you're looking for a plan B in Paraguay, whether you're looking for a relocation, or whether you're looking to join the Nomad Elite. We do have a package that suits your needs. And now in the month of May 2024, we're offering a special where you can obtain Paraguayan residency at a significant discount. You can choose from our free packages, and these packages are on sale in May 2024. So we highly recommend you to take us up on this offer by clicking on the link below the video. As always, thank you so much for watching Nomad Elite. We appreciate you and we see you on the next video.